Okay, great. So, welcome to another exciting episode of the Legacy Lounge podcast, where we take a deep dive into the foundation, finance, future of what makes a great legacy. In each episode, we bring you powerful insights, expert strategies, and real success stories to help you level up in life. And today, we have the wonderful Miss Erinn Compton in the house. And oh man, just phenomenal. You know what? Usually when people are doing introductions, networking, it's a whole long list of credentials, which you do have. But what is more important is just who you are as a person. So, Erinn, what is it that you want to say to the audience? How do you want to introduce yourself? Tell them about who you are and just the wonderful, wonderful person that you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk with you today. Yes, I'm Erinn Compton. I also go by Ren. And I am what you would call a healthcare expert. That's what I label myself, but also really a community enthusiast. I like to do different things within the community, whether it's volunteering, whether it's helping with events, event coordination, and a lot of nonprofit work. Um, I just enjoy helping others and working with people. Some of my, I would say, official titles. I'm currently an educator with the Rockford Public School District. I'm also a board member for Winnebago County of CASA. It services children in the juvenile system and also foster care. And I'm a part of the National Honor Society, a leadership in success. And so I have a few things that I am a part of, but the biggest thing is just being a part of the community here.
Oh, yeah, that's super important. Let me ask you
Oh,
this.
wait, I
How-
forgot to add, I'm a dog mom.
Okay.
Okay. Shout
Yeah.
out to my Suki.
Hey, maybe they'll watch it sometime in the future.
Oh, I got to show her, yes.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. How did you even get started in all of
Yes. My family has always just been givers and helpers. So at a young age, I was able to see that through my grandmother and my mother, through church,
that?
just seeing them being able to give back. So that's something that I was a part of at a very young age, through church events. When I was about 16, in high school, they offered a really good program. At the time, I think it was only through Auburn High School, where I was able to, as an honor student, you had to meet certain qualifications, but I was able to join a CNA program. For those that don't know, stands for Certified Nursing Assistant. After my father had suffered like a traumatic health incident, I guess you would call it a stroke, but they didn't really know what to call it. It
Okay.
was all of a sudden. I was 15, riding the city bus from Magic Waters as a cashier and going into Rockford Memorial Hospital at the time, to help take care of him. And that's what brought my interest into getting into the healthcare field. So from 16 until now, I've done CNA work, direct patient care. The last, I want to say, 5 to maybe 7 years is when I really started to get myself into entrepreneurship. Um, Being in healthcare, I just knew it was a little bit more that I wanted to do. CNA is like a lower level employee, and it was a lot of frustration, and I feel like burnout starting to happen
Mm.
by working in that field at such a young age. Some of the things that you are exposed and seen, and it's just like you have to care for people more. Seeing the inside struggle in healthcare facilities, but how it also affects families
Yeah.
and workers, it just made me want to grow more into my healthcare career. Um, that led me into management roles, overseeing group homes for adults with intellectual or physical disabilities. And that's what really brought the challenge on as far as my professional development. I noticed that lacked a lot actually in management. And so that just sparked an interest for me. And I've involved myself in different leadership programs. And one kind of leads to another, I feel. As you meet more people, you network. Um, and it's led me here.
Okay. Yeah. So what was that transition like? Because you mentioned entrepreneurship. And I know like taking that leap of faith is a leap of faith. So what was that transition like for you?
Yes. After working at several different type of facilities, nursing homes, hospitals, home health, um, group homes, I like I said, I was experiencing a burnout. I also at the time was like trying to go to school, but I
Mhm.
couldn't finish school. So in my head, I started thinking of ways that I want freedom. I want flexibility. I understood that, my family needs to be in a better space. And I have a large family, but a very small, immediate family.
Yeah,
And I've always been the one to kind of be the risk taker and go out and introduce different things. And I kind of feel like that is on me to carry that. I've been able to help expose them to different things just as well as they have for me. Um, but during that time, it was just a lot personally that my family went through. Um, I had the loss of a sibling, and those things kind of weighed on me.
yeah,
And it was a particular incident. I was a CNA, and there was an older lady working there in her 60s. She was still a CNA. I actually went to school with one of her grandkids. She worked at a facility for 20 years. And they ended up closing. Like all of a sudden, we had to call family members to come get residents out and everything. But before they closed, they didn't want to have to pay her retirement or her benefits, and they fired her. She was late by like 5 minutes one day. Seeing that, I knew that I couldn't be a CNA forever, and I had to come up and do something different.
yeah,
Um, that I don't know. That stays with me. That's something that um, I'll share with other coworkers um, in management positions that I've shared with staff, because that was a turning point to me. I felt like, oh, these places really don't care about us.
yeah, yeah,
Um, she gave 20 years, and now she got to move in with the grandkids, and she don't have money. I can't be doing that at 60, thinking that, oh, it's easy to get a bag because I'm a CNA. I can hop to this job, hop to that job, a serial job hopper because I had my CNA license. And I just was like, okay, this is it. I'm tired. I'm in a toxic work environment. Um, and I think it was like 3 months I didn't work, and I was going through it. I
mm,
didn't work, and that's when I had the idea to do a community event called Erin Katie's Girls Day. That was my very first step into entrepreneurship. I lacked, if I can be honest, the expertise as far as building an event and what you need to do behind the scenes.
yeah.
However, that event turned out awesome. It turned out great. And that's what kind of got me put out there as far as services, community work. And before that, I just did a lot of free events, a lot of different events for the community, kids working with barbers to get free haircuts. And that also sparked me because at that time, I think I was working with a couple of barbers, but one of them was Anthony Hamilton, and we call him Ant. He said yes out the gate that he would help me with some events. After posting it on Facebook, we had someone in Rockford, a well-known videographer, like come to record one of our events, see how it was going and support us to share the story and what we were doing for the community. And it went viral. Over 10,000 shares, views. It was in every state. And they started speaking about how they wanted that in their state or using our videos to help recruit for barbers. And so I said, I have a knack for this. I could do this. I don't just have to like do what they've kind of told me and work a 9 to 5. So little things I started testing and experiencing and trying out that just kind of plunged me into entrepreneurship. So the transition, it wasn't easy. It was hard. There was some things I was talked about. There was other event coordinators that tried to stop me or that messed up the event. There was definitely some changes I would make, but that grew me and I learned from that. And I said I would never face the criticism behind the scenes that I did, but because the consumers, the guests, the customers were so happy and the overall response was so good throughout my events, I knew that, okay, this is something I want to do. It may not be the exact thing, but I like the freedom, the flexibility, and I'm able to create.
So I know a lot of people. That is one of the greatest benefits of entrepreneurship: the freedom, the flexibility, the creativity, also the personal growth and development that comes along with it. But again, we have those barriers, those fears, those mental blocks. You jumped out, took that leap of faith, and amazing things happen. But what advice could you give to somebody, like maybe even specifically the nurses? Because I do talk to a lot of healthcare professionals, and again, the things that you see and experience, the burden, the weight, the burnout. What advice can you give them?
Ah, take care of yourself first. I don't care how much of a helper you are, how much of a giver you are. You cannot be that if you don't have anything to give yourself. You will eventually run out. They always talk about burnout in healthcare, and usually people just switch jobs. That wasn't the answer. You're still working. You're still doing that overtime. You may have just transferred into a different type of toxic work environment. Even if you're in a friendly one, if it's not toxic, you still have to have boundaries. I
Yeah,
wish I knew that earlier. I think that needs to be spoken about more. People kind of get mad about younger generations not wanting to like work now necessarily. But I think that's because they've seen what it has done to their parents, their grandparents. We're putting all this work in and hours for companies, and then still left a lot of times with nothing, not even enough money for a funeral, not even enough money to actually live a good life in retirement. And a lot of people have to start working. So take care of yourself first. Another thing is in healthcare, it is not like any other industry. I'm My first management role, I did get a lot of kind of pushback from some because I was in a sector that was nonprofit group home. Group homes tend to be a lot more relaxed and kind of get away with things that sometimes they shouldn't get away with. And people don't see it as like direct healthcare, like hospitals and nursing homes. But I'm very big on regulation, policy enforcement, implementation. Healthcare is health. That's life. That's wellness. If healthcare becomes like any other industry where you think you can be so relaxed and do whatever you want, just like kind of our politicians now, what do you think that means for your health? It doesn't matter
yeah,
about the neighborhood over there or that neighborhood. It does actually matter. But if you're that concerned, because some people say, I don't care about them, and they make their decisions because they are only thinking of themselves, any type of policy or rule when it comes to healthcare is going to affect everyone, every individual. It's a serious industry, and to take that serious, and what I mean by that is when you get your credentials, when you get your certifications, your licenses, that is yours. As soon as you do something wrong, as soon as you think you're helping that company, and you do something that is definitely out of bounds, whether it's signing something that shouldn't have been signed, fraud, whether it's I'm going to take a shortcut this day, and then a resident may not have gotten their medicine, or a resident may have fallen, or you didn't come in, or you left early and you didn't speak with your coworker. It's abandonment. Those things are very serious, and I think they should be talked about more so people getting into healthcare understand you can't just move any way that you want to. This isn't a fast food chain. And unfortunately, that's what I see a lot is some people coming from different industries, bringing the same type of work ethic. And that just doesn't cut it. It is a more serious field. It's something you have to pay attention to and protect yourself. Take care of yourself first, but also protect yourself before you also try to protect the company because they're going to get another nurse.
mm, mm. So how do you see that playing into the future? Because I as I look around, I see more people like, hey, I'm going to school for nursing. It's very popular. A lot of people are trying to get into healthcare, just like a lot of people are trying to get into finance. So how do you see the trend shaping? And then also, what advice can you give people for that transition? Because you pretty much said, hey, that world that you just left is not going to be the same world that you enter over here. So,
Mhm.
what can you tell them to kind of smooth that over, just to be mentally prepared?
Do not enter this field, and not just nursing, any part of the healthcare field, if you are not good at working with people. or find roles that may be more behind the scenes where you can work a little bit independently, or if you're self-sufficient, but you really have to know yourself. I think before you jump in to a field like healthcare and also finance, I'm not, finances. That's something I don't feel like I can really get into helping other people, because it's something that I've had to challenge myself in learning and growing for myself.
Mhm.
Right? Some people will learn something. Just because you learn a skill doesn't mean you necessarily should do it, especially for others. So make sure you know who you are, research the roles that you want to get into. Um, and then really assess if that's going to be a good fit for you. Also, don't tie yourself to one company. There's plenty of organizations, different health sectors, from health insurance, nursing homes, assisted living, hospitals, and they are all different work environments, and they all need different healthcare professionals. There's medical carriers where you can get paid for driving and delivering medications. So when I say to assess yourself and know who you are, know what you want to get into. Everybody's doing nursing now. Everybody's doing nursing. Um, Not everybody is meant to be a nurse or needs to be a nurse. And uh, look at other fields. Some of them are actually more lucrative and more relaxed than nursing as well. Some people don't understand what nursing is very rigid. A lot of people come in, like I said, being relaxed. And next thing you know, that's when we see these stories of a nurse being charged for giving somebody the wrong medication, or nurses being charged because a patient was dead for 12 hours and they didn't report it on a shift because they didn't even go back there to look at the patient.
What?
Yes, these are real things that happen in healthcare. I could tell you there's so much that goes beyond this. I feel like there is right now, especially, just a huge gap in healthcare when it comes to education and training. A lot of people think it's easy because they have kids. It's just changing the diaper and making sure they're fed, or, they get what they need. It's so different. You have mental health, behavioral health. It is so different. You have to pay attention to detail, know your calculate. That's why I say, if you're not good at those things, find something that you're going to be good at that may be more relaxed and suitable for you. It's a serious thing. When I was 16, at the first nursing home I worked with, they closed down because they allowed people with no management experience or not the same type of experience to get into that field. They weren't even business savvy. They were still in cable as a nursing home. They a lot weren't giving checks to some people when they left. So a group of CNAs had to do a lawsuit or contact the state when they closed to get their last paychecks. This was a huge nursing home on North Main that's now been torn down. Went through several changes, different things. And so I'm a 16-year-old, right? I'm like, I'm about to save the world. I'm a CNA now. I'm telling this inspiring story how I got into this field. And one day, I'm not even a full 2 months into being a CNA. I call my mom crying. She's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, "I've only been on shift for like an hour." But I come in, I check on my patients, I say hello, get report from a CNA that's older than me, right? She's been doing this for years, older than me. Give me a report like nothing's wrong. By the time I get report and all of those things, it's probably about 30, 40 minutes into my shift. I got to get people down to the dining room, all of this stuff. I go into this one patient's room. Oddly, it's a nice summer day though, but it's still kind of chilly. Her window's open, the fan is blowing on her, but she's up in her chair. Um, She was verbal, but it would be hard to sometimes understand her, but she wasn't able to move herself. But I go right in, brushing her hair, talking to her, but she's not responding to me. So I go around, like touching her. I'm like, she cold. Then I'm like, wait a minute, she's cold. I'm like, maybe it's the window, it's the fan. I start panicking. I'm closing the window. I'm turning the fan off. I'm like, she's not alive. I immediately go run to the nurse's station to let them know I don't know what happened. She's not here. The nurse says, I don't know. I just gave her meds before you came on shift. Mind you, I only been here 30, 40 minutes. We go back into the room. The other CNAs are just like, clean her up. One of the CNAs puts the call light on top of her after we transfer into the bed. It says, call if you need me, and laughs and walks out the room. I'm 16 as a CNA. That was my first big experience in healthcare. I was traumatized. I just touched a dead lady. Didn't know she was dead. And then also, but I've always been, I'm sorry, quick to think, because I'm like, wait a minute. How long has she been dead? She's super cold. The other CNA had to have known she was. Is that why the window was open? Is that why the fan was blowing? Did she pass after the meds? Were the meds given incorrectly? Nobody did an investigation, though. Everybody wanted to clean it up real quick. I'm in the common area crying. Her family's there, doesn't know anything of this nature beforehand. They just think natural causes just from her being ill and in the nursing home.
So how do you get through it? How do you process this? How do you like what? Okay.
A lot already, right? In that one thing.
Yeah. Like, okay. So listening to that, like what can you give people, or like maybe a resource that you used, or a mental exercise, a tip or trick to be like, hey, you're gonna see some stuff and this is how you kind of navigate through it.
You can only do so much as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I mean by knowing what you're getting yourself into. But also making sure you set boundaries, you speak up for yourself, but also you will have to speak up for others. That should have been a red flag for me to run then. But of course, as a youngin, and them making it feel so normal, or like having that such normalcy about the situation, I didn't. I just was like, okay, this is what I guess I got myself into, and I just went on. Um, Looking back, I wish I would have said something more. But then at the same time, we had crooked management. They weren't going to do anything. If I would have said something more at that time, I would have definitely been out the door, you know? But not to be afraid of that, to do what you have to do. Documentation is important in healthcare. That's why I be making sure your licenses and your certifications are good. Um, a lot of stuff is now electronic charting, but you can still keep notes for yourself of what's happened. And a lot of every employer is going to tell you we have I forget what it's called, but like employee services where you can call a free number, for different resources if you need it. I won't say it doesn't help. I never really tried to call myself, but from what I do hear is that it's there in place, but like don't go there to call and do a complaint on your company because they're going to be more on the company side than they are yours. However, they will recommend wellness tips to get through, certain things that you feel like are challenging. If you call them about grief or having a difficult time working, they'll give you advice. And it's usually on a big poster board, like where they talk about labor laws and different stuff like that. Or if you get your orientation papers from a job, it might be one of those benefits listed in there. It's one of those where every job has to offer it. It is free. That is something you can utilize. They can refer you to counselors or therapists to talk to if you are just having a difficult time coping through experiences that are challenging in your job. I know that was probably utilized a lot during the pandemic, seeing a lot of patients pass from COVID and different things, but making sure you have a setup and a plan for yourself. Don't get caught up into one thing. I just feel like knowing to therapy is good. That's something the Black community, just to be honest, has to get better at. Therapy is good for your personal life and your work life. So having something like that available, or a friend, I feel like release that. Talk that out to someone so you don't carry all of that weight, or write it out, freelance writing, journaling. Um, a lot of that in those situations will most likely inspire you to want to do more in your field or in that area to change the things that you see that aren't right, and stick by that. That is ethics, your values, your morals, ethics. And that is
So
lost in a lot of things.
so I can tell you're very passionate about what you do. What keeps you going?
Knowing that I am making a difference, it's been hard sometimes. I think everybody in their journey has maybe dealt with a little bit of an imposter syndrome or whatnot. But like I said, I started out doing different community events and different things like that. And I knew I wanted to help people. But those always had like a wellness or healthcare part to it. It was to, if you look good, right, you feel better. When your
Yeah.
kids look good, they do better in school. They're not getting bullied or made fun of. So that was the point of the free barber stuff. The Aaron Katie's Girls Day come in to unite women. Sometimes women can be catty. They can gossip a lot, especially a family of women. Sometimes they are not good to each other. And so, how do we create a community where we know how to rely on each other, to help each other, not use, not abuse, take advantage of, but being resourceful for each other? I think that's what community is about. And so they always have had that type of underlying aspect or the reason why I did an event. And I think I'm just further passionate because as I keep climbing the ladder, and when I finally in my head was like, I knew as a CNA, I want to be like a healthcare administrator. I want to be able to make the changes because they're not listening to us. We're not effective down here. Stepping in, I want to make sure I use my words wisely. Stepping into the management role, especially in the group home sector that is supposed to be regulated, but really not because of all the shortages with state personnel being able to come out. Um, a lot of shortage as far as caregivers actually being able to work in group homes. I don't think people realize how bad this is because we're out here living our lives. We're driving, we're going to the movies, we're going out, we're having kids, raising our families. But it's bad, like nursing homes and group homes, seeing it firsthand, neglect, abuse, having to tell other CNAs that you're working with, don't push them like that. Why do you got their face pushed into the wall? Wait a minute, they got to use the bathroom. They've been soaked all day. Repeatedly seeing it, but understanding like, hey, I got loved ones that are in facilities like this. Constantly seeing, especially us, our grandparents, people's grandparents, or church mothers, and we got to get better at that in nursing homes, but the churches stop coming to visit them. The families are never around, but you was around for her pocketbook. Seeing that consistently, I think it does something to you. Um, it's a hard one because some of them some of you don't know, and because I am a Black woman, I think that I'm very passionate about it because it affects us the most as workers and as just people being affected by it because we might have a loved one in that situation or we may go through it ourselves. Um, just to add into that, on the west side, like we know here locally, there's not a lot of healthcare jobs because there's not a lot of healthcare facilities that are within the space on the west side, especially with the hospital Marfa Memorial ending and them taking it elsewhere. We do have some jobs still left, like group homes. But when I got into management, I was the only Black manager, really, that was active in coming to the meetings and actually doing their job. So uh, I got to hear, though, some things in those meetings, how they would talk about the workers coming in bonnets, how they would talk, overhearing their conversations about how they would discipline their kids, or talking to just inappropriate
Mhm.
conversations and stuff. And I realized I'm only here because they think that, and I would get the comment, "Oh, you're different," or "Oh, you do this." They think like I'm a different because I'm pursuing more, and they looked at them differently. That upset me. That's what I want to change. And I think that we don't understand as a community when we allow them to come in and we don't fight for certain opportunities, fight for certain rights, and stick together in the way that we should, those jobs leave our community. And when they leave our community, that's harder for us to get jobs. Then you have a transportation issue. Then you also have education issues. And seeing how everything kind of bounces and depends on each other and how it can just fall and crumble. That's why I'm passionate. Um, we got to understand more as workers. You don't always have to be the worker, But it ain't nothing wrong with being a worker. Come looking right. Do your job. Do what you need to do. You represent not just the community at whole, but you represent yourself. And however you are putting yourself out there is how you are allowing other people to view you and eventually how they will treat you. So this just comes my passion with fighting to keep things here because I got family that's still here. I want to still live and work in my community. I want to see it more diversified. I don't care about a DEI being taken because we shouldn't even needed that in the first place, right? Because it should already be known. That should already be the standard, the expectation. That's why I'm passionate. It all, education, finance, health, it all relies on each other.
So what changes do you think could be made, or how do you see the industry attracting more top talent, that people who would have those things in order, so it's more preventative instead of having to make the corrections on the back end?
Definitely more professional development. A lot of people, I feel like when once you start working and they get the 9 to 5, because they aren't in college or pursuing educational, further goals, you can see it. And this is not to talk badly because you don't have to go to college to be successful.
Hmm.
That's for sure. That's already been proven.
Hmm.
But if you're not actively growing and learning, so you're not professionally growing, and in your personal life, you're just hanging out, taking care of the family or clubbing or whatever, I feel like it stalls you. And I feel like that's why you see sometimes older employees and you got that employee always in one workplace. You're like, you 40 and you still acting like you 18, 20, like childish or immature. Because some people were studied and left in high school. That's the last time they were pushed to learn something.
Yeah. So what resources, what are some of the things that you do, or like resources or habits that have helped propel you in your personal growth and in your professional growth?
Personally, I started a few years ago doing therapy as needed. That really helped me because sometimes talking with family, they may not get you. They may not get your call in. They may not understand certain things. And you're different as a child than you are as an adult. And sometimes they can't place that. So doing therapy and that kind of helped me a bit too in my personal life, just when it comes to family relationships and understanding myself more. Reading. I love to read. I just sometimes go to the bookstore and pick up a book. If you can't do anything else, read. I don't care if it's a magazine, if you're scrolling on your phone, Apple has the news articles or or whatnot. Read. That's going to help you because that might give you a different interest. It might inspire you to do something different. It might help you figure out, oh, that's why that was happening, or this is that. Learn a new word. Just keep teaching yourself in your personal life. And health, wellness is a big factor. I started eating better. I went as a vegetarian for like 6 months. Um, and then the other 6 months I went vegan leading up to it. I was also living at that time in Las Vegas, so it was a different environment. It was a lot, hikers and all that fitness and body right and stuff. So making sure your environment is also conducive to help you, in your performance and in your growth. So just taking that's still, under taking care of yourself, whether that's making sure you drink that gallon of water a day, eating healthier, making the changes you need, and also evaluating your partner, your significant other. If they're not on your level, and I don't want to say just financial, but um, in certain, not having goals or certain things that they want for themselves, that can stagnate you in your own progress. And sometimes
Yeah.
when you're younger and dating, you allow that to happen. So note of that. Professionally, I would just say making sure that you networking is important, but don't just network to network and say that you did it, but retain those relationships. Keeping in contact with those. I've been fortunate and had so many blessings, and even at a younger age, but I didn't know how to utilize that. I didn't want to come across like, well, I need this and I want to do that, but I don't want to ask. Stop
Yeah.
being afraid. Stop second guessing. Join those leadership groups. Network. Do whatever you need to do. For me, I'll give a couple shout outs. Like I said, continuing to grow. I know you were a part of this program too. I think I did it the year prior than yours. NICNE, which is through Northern Illinois University. They have a great program that helps you with nonprofit management. And that led me to being a board member now with Winnebago County of CASA. So those things just open up opportunities. I've also been a part of Women in Wealth, which is a great leadership program, helping women here develop certain skills. So those are groups. They are now also accepting applications for the next cohort. Um, Church, that's a big one. And luckily, my church Hope Fellowship, they have definitely impacted me personally. And I've had so much spiritual growth. I'm saved, but I still, I'm a work in progress. And but they also do a lot of work in the community, which has helped me understand that too, that relationship when it comes to nonprofits and grant funding or different things like that. So those are some groups and different things that you or anyone else can check out that may be resourceful and help.
Yeah, it sounds like the way my mind processes it is really making sure that you have a solid foundation and community, making sure that that ground is, worked the best, like mentally, physically, spiritually, for growth.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting around the people who can mold and shape you, getting the resources, reading the books, working the mind so that you can have that growth, which is also the first step into legacy, as I teach in my programs and to my clients. Let me ask you this, Ren. What does legacy mean to you?
Hmm. Legacy, I guess legacy, I've always just thought it as leaving, like when I thought of, I've been taught legacy is like leaving something for your family, being important enough, where you leave this great thing or name or reputation for your family. Now I feel like it includes that, the whole generational wealth and being able to provide for your family now and future generations. Um, but I think it has a lot more to do with character too than just material things.
Oh yeah. I always say it's not always about what you leave to people, but what you leave in them. So,
I like that.
it's not always the physical things, because everybody's going to leave a legacy, whether you realize it or not. You're always going to remember something about somebody.
Hmm.
So that's the thing that's most important, because I always say it's the foundation, the finances, and the future. And speaking of the future, what is it that's in the future for you? What's down the road for Ren?
I am very excited. Like I said, I transitioned. Um, I guess what I want to say too to your last part, because when you were around it, kind of closing up, I'm like, yes, that. But if school is not for you, or there's financial challenges, because I started and stopped so many times until I got my associate's degree. I'm now about to finish my bachelor's degree, but this has been like a 12-year. This has been a long process for me. But I knew to utilize every experience in my life to educate me. So if you cannot go to school, make sure you know your skills so you can identify them and how they can transfer into other fields. So if something happens to that job, you know that you can apply for this other job. It does not matter, but that you are savvy enough to think quickly, to innovate. I'm sorry, this is important for me, but use your work experience as a learning opportunity. If you're not going to school, your work is your school. So when those bad things happen, I know how to improve it elsewhere. I know what I can do to make it better elsewhere. The good things that happen, I'm going to bring that with me. So that's why I'm saying it's also important. Network within your job, because they may also help you get to that next point. I was able to, I'm very good at identifying my skills and how to upskill, what's transferable skills for me. And I've now entered into education. I started out as a paraprofessional, and I've been able to end this school year as a substitute teacher. And so I'm very excited about that. And for me, here in the future, I plan on opening up full services. I do have a company called Comp Green Culture Wellness, and I provide different career services like resume work, cover letters, um, and I also do nonprofit community events that are upcoming with that. And so I'm just excited. I have some vendor events that are happening this summer that I'll be posting soon. I'm stepping into entrepreneurship and I'm still working. You can do it all.
You can. You can.
Yeah.
So this is one question I've been asking my guests recently,
Mhm.
and I just want to ask you. This is one of my favorite questions now. So if you can have dinner with any three people, past, present, whether they were a real person, whether they were a fictional character, whatever, who would those three people be and why?
Wait, if I if I wanted to do what with three people?
Dinner. Dinner. Have a dinner.
Oh, dinner with three people. And why? Hmm. That's a good one. I've given answers to this before, but sometimes they periodically change.
Yeah.
So, uh, one of them, I know some people laugh when I say this, but it's Jesus. I would love to have dinner, not God, but Jesus. I know we know. I'm not trying to get into the whole breakdown of the Trinity and all that, but because life can be very hard. Even when you have good things happening, it can be very hard. And I know we have the Bible. I still ain't been able to read through that entire thing, but I think just being able to uh, just really say thank you. Um, mm, sorry. Thank you to Jesus. And also having a conversation about sacrifice and humanity. And I think there would be so much wisdom and different things from it. I would love that. The second person, um, I would want to have a talk with Donald Trump.
Okay.
So, why? I should I say just Donald Trump? Yeah, because you said three people. So I would say Donald Trump. I was a big fan growing up of his from a business point of view. I just thought he was just an awesome business person and blah blah blah. And I love that. He's not completely dumb because he made himself president of the United States. And I think that, sometimes you can still learn from people you dislike.
Yeah, for sure.
You can still learn from bad people. And I think that would be a good conversation so I can say some things that's been on my mind, my tongue to him, but also take away some things that, as far as strategy and the aggressive strategy and approaches, to work for the good.
Hmm.
The third person, dinner with, dang it. I don't want to. Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
It just popped in my head. But Elizabeth Warren, she's I read a book of hers recently. She's very smart. She's also very versatile in the work that she's done. And I think she's very brave, especially as a white woman. She has spoken and states some things that like some are scared to speak on. So I think that would be a very good conversation, one that learning political or business and community strategies would be very useful.
Okay. So yeah, especially with the last two that you mentioned, do you have any political aspirations?
I think about it all the time, and sometimes I consider it, but then I'm like, I'm too real up in there. I don't know if it could be for me because I'm gonna let them. You guys to go. What you mean? No, to me, all that voting and trying to decide this, right is right, wrong is wrong, and I see it that way. And if you, I don't care if I feel like something is morally wrong. I understand the legal stuff, and they. So politics, I definitely feel like I want to be in politics as far as a community member. People don't understand. All of us are involved in politics. It depends on what level you want to be involved at, and I do want to influence it. And I don't think I want to go in directly politics, but I have thought about healthcare policy and fighting for that and having some influence or impact in that way.
Okay. Okay. Man, yeah, this was you definitely brought a lot
I'm a
of
bit of a
info,
talker.
a lot of um, you know, a message for change, especially in the healthcare industry. Um, let me ask you this: what is like if the viewers can get one thing out of your message, what would that message be? What was that one thing that can make an impact?
Go for it. Do it. Whatever it is, go for it and do it. And I really want people to understand that there's a lot of community building, a lot of different things that we need to do to strengthen our communities, but we have to strengthen ourselves first and do a lot of individual work. But I do want to just kind of state too, if you are in an area or a field or career where you are struggling, you do not have to leave that. And I also want healthcare facilities to do more outsourcing of services to help support the emotional and social well-being of residents and individuals in care. And with that being said, um, I want to open that up to more creatives, right? And also, just like you're a financial expert, to introduce yourself to healthcare managers, administrators, politicians. That is a way to healthcare can support your business. Some people don't know, like activity aids, they help them do stuff so artists can come in there and help paint with them. Put yourself out there, go for it, do it, get to the bag, get to the money. Don't let anything stop you. One of the things that I would like to do and offer after this, um, and I'll be sending a link to you, is I do have templates for creatives to be able to reach out or other industries in the way that they can work in healthcare, help support healthcare while also supporting themselves. I've been lucky enough in management roles to help support estheticians and providing services for residents, which also helps them as a small business in the community. And I want everybody to just look at that process, the flow of things, and how we can be more supportive um, in ourselves and for others. So go for it, do it, help somebody. Yeah.
So where can the people find you? How can they reach out to you?
I am on Facebook and Instagram as Erinn Compton. Instagram is going to have an underscore in between Ren and my last name. Um, I prefer Facebook, but I'm on both. They kind of go hand in hand for me. And I have a Comp Green Culture Wellness page there. If you are also a chef or into food and food safety, I have a food group, the Chef's Promo on Facebook. You can also email me at compgreen, that's COMPGREENCW@gmail.com. And I will also get back to you. You can just email over your resume, email me with a business request. I'm pretty sure. And if I don't know the answer and I can't do it, I will recommend you to someone.
All right. Hey, that's powerful. That's powerful. Erinn, I truly appreciate you. You gave me a lot to think about, and I'm sure you gave the viewers watching this just a lot to digest about personal care, mental care, spiritual care, physical care, health care, all of that, and then how to manage it all. So I truly appreciate you. And because I know that is all going to be a part of the legacy that we all leave. You got to be able to take care of yourself and take care of others. One thing somebody told me recently that's been in my head is you got to give to live. And I see that you're out here just constantly giving, 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 giving.
Yeah.
So I know all of that is going to end up being a great life and an amazing legacy for you.
Thank you.
Any other final words before we close it down?
No, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity of speaking. I would love to come back and answer any more questions or expand on what we talked about. And I just appreciate you and thank you.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure. Well, with that being said, everybody watching this, remember that life happens in moments and your legacy happens in moments. Your legacy is on the line. So do something with these moments today. With that being said, it's been a great episode. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.
Bye.